Hi, my name is Pınar. I'm Aslı Pınar Tan. I'm an electrical and electronics engineer with masters from Bilkent University in Ankara, Turkey. And I have a degree in multidisciplinary space studies from International Space University in Strasbourg, France. I've been working professionally as a senior consultant and director in global telecom industry, but I have been doing personal research on a universal theory of fields and forces independent from any institution or university. What I present here is part of my research results where I propose a new orbital model for moving bodies in the universe. As part of my research results, I have mathematically demonstrated and proven that distance between points around two different circles in three-dimensional space is equivalent to the distance of points around a vector ellipse from another fixed or moving point as in two-dimensional space. And in this context, I have defined what a vector ellipse is as well. This is equivalent to showing that bodies moving on two different circular orbits in space, vector-wise, behave as if moving on an elliptical path with respect to each other, and virtually seeing each other as positioned at an instantaneously stationary point in space on their relative ecliptic plane. And note that this ecliptic plane is relative. And this is valid whether they're moving with the same angular velocity or different but fixed angular velocities, or even with different and time-varying angular velocities with respect to their own centers of revolution. This gives us the definition of a scalar ellipse in 2 dimensions. And with this equation, I define a vector ellipse in 3 dimensions. Now, all moving bodies in the universe exhibit some kind of elliptic motion with respect to each other. For instance, according to Kepler's first law, the Earth seems to be revolving in an elliptical orbit around the Sun, with the Sun at one of the focuses. And the Moon also has a distinctly elliptical orbit as observed from Earth, but with a varying eccentricity as it comes closer and goes farther away from Earth. So based on the mathematical derivation I have just briefly demonstrated, I am claiming that all moving bodies in the universe, in fact, move in some kind of individual circular orbital revolution with shifted centers, actually. And I am asserting that the relative elliptic motion observed is based on that mathematical relation I have derived. So with this assumption, I have calculated the orbital parameters of the Sun, the Earth, and the Moon, using also an analytical method which I have developed. And the calculations are based on the observed Sun to Earth distance data and Moon to Earth distance data. So the resultant topology is something like this, where the Earth's individual circular orbit is placed in the horizontal plane. We have the Moon tilted by 24 degrees, and the Sun's tilted by minus 156.56 degrees with respect to the plane of orbit of Earth. So along the way, in my research analysis, I have obtained many results, but among the most significant ones are like the monthly libration of the Moon as observed from Earth is due to the individual circular revolution of the Moon. And the Earth is not revolving around the Sun, in fact, and the Moon is not directly revolving around the Earth, but their centers of individual circular orbits of revolution revolve around each other, and they're forming a binary system of bodies like that. And the Sun is revolving around a larger individual circular orbit, which encompasses that of the Earth and the Moon with an inclination. The individual circular orbit plane of a moving body in space determines its equatorial plane. The self-revolution axis and self-rotation axis of each moving body in space must be aligned along the normal of its equatorial plane. From a vantage point above North Pole of a moving body in space, its direction of revolution around its individual circular orbit is clockwise. So it's revolution orbit west to revolution orbit east. this triggers its self-rotation in counterclockwise direction, which is self-rotation west, self-rotation east. These are two easts and two wests in opposite directions, in fact, in space. The actual tilt of a body in its motion relative to another body must topologically be based on the orbital inclination angle between their planes of individual circular orbits of revolution in space. So, as an overall conclusion, we can say that planets and solar systems do not necessarily revolve around their stars, as we have found out for the Earth and the Sun. And this fact is also supported by observations in recent years about observed exoplanets, which do not seem to revolve around their stars. And astronomers have tried to explain this puzzle for a long time. And all of this raises the need to reevaluate existing theories about the formation, the expected motional behavior, and the topologies of solar systems in the universe, as well as our solar system, of course. More detailed description and results of my research can be found in my published books on Amazon. Everything is a Circle, a new model for orbits of bodies in the universe. And it will also be published in the scientific journal, Advances in Space Research. Thank you.